Just 24 hours then after sacking Frank Lampard, Chelsea have a new manager in the form of Thomas Tuchel taking over, and he'll be looking ahead to the match against Wolves on Wednesday. Well, Craig and Frank are still with us. Craig, Thomas Tuchel, do you like this appointment?
Well, we'll find out, Dan, is the answer. I just looked at that graphic, second and third in the Bundesliga. That's not going to wash at Chelsea. It's big boy stuff now. Abramovich brings somebody in with his reputation, and he's expecting a turnaround. You know, I'm not suggesting this season, but I'm saying over the course of his contract. So, look, it's kind of similar to when he went in at Dortmund. There is an underperforming squad that is better than what it is, and so the similarities are kind of there. But we're going to find out now because, as the graphic said, he was a German Cup winner. He then went to France, won a lot of things, but he was expected to do so. Now he's up against some of the heaviest hitters in European football, in Manchester City, Liverpool, potentially Man United. And we'll find out if he can get this deep squad working or not. Frank?
Yeah, I followed him just before he signed for Paris Saint-Germain, and it was not a very easy task when he was in charge of Paris Saint-Germain, because many stars and the policy of the club, the hierarchy wasn't really established there. It was a hard time for him. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to handle, the Chelsea players, the pressure, the English pressure. But I'm sure he can be the good man at the right place. So let's see. And it's going to be maybe his last chance to be successful at the top level, because for me, it wasn't successful for Paris Saint-Germain. He could have done better. He has to be successful for Chelsea.
What's his objective between now and the end of the season, Craig? Would you say top four?
Yeah, absolutely. Put a run together, get in the top four. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. That's for sure. There's teams that are going to drop points. His squad is good enough. And in some sense, that was one of the reasons of the Lampard downfall. Because, when this board, who were getting seeds of doubt growing within their heads for months now, when they were hearing after a couple of stumbles, well, it's, from Lampard himself, it's a bit ludicrous to be us talking about titles and challenging when he spent all this money, when they've got a big squad, when Leicester are up there, when Tottenham are hovering around, when West Ham now, after today, have moved into the top four. They didn't want to hear that. And Abramovich, I think, believes he's got a squad to push. And he's got a good enough bunch of guys with the players that he brought in, added to the younger players that were there. And he didn't want to hear that. And he wants somebody to come in that's going to say, okay, I can get this working. I understand the players. Some of them are no better than others, but I can get results. And I do think it is a possibility with this squad to get in the top four. And I don't think it actually should be that difficult.
Craig, what do you say to those who suggest that he should have had more time, citing someone like Jurgen Klopp? And saying, look, side by side, these records are pretty similar when it comes to their first 18 months in charge. Yet, obviously, Chelsea quick to get rid of Lampard.
Listen, stop. The idiots out there putting Frank Lampard and Jurgen Klopp on the same pedestal. Even if their records are similar, Jurgen Klopp has got a body of work over many a year to fall back on. He's a tried and trusted manager that Liverpool knew 99.99% was going to take them in the right direction. We cannot be having this conversation with these two managers. Look, I say this to those people out there whinging and moaning. Frank Lampard, as we speak now, Chelsea are sitting 10th in the league. Frank Lampard had won 2 out of the last 8 in the Premier League. That's not going to cut it. On top of the rhetoric that I was talking about not expecting to be challenging, these things just sowed the seeds in the minds of the Chelsea hierarchy. On top of that, there's been some reports, true or not, about some players not being happy, but you hear that all the time. On top of that, he's a rookie manager. Now, Chelsea were getting worried that this top four was getting further and further away under his stewardship. That's just factual. Now, he will say, like every manager, I could have turned this around. But they didn't feel that he could. And I certainly didn't see any real reason or any significant action that they were going to turn it around over a longer period. So look at the club. Look at the history. Roman Abramovich, 18 years or so as owner of this football club. That's now 14 full-time managers. You do the maths, right? Lampard had a reasonable period by some of the other managers that have been sacked. He's a rookie manager. They were unsure about him. They decided to change direction. There should be no sympathy there because this is what Chelsea do. This is what Abramovich does. And by the way, only Manchester United in his time as owner of Chelsea Football Club have got the same amount of titles. That is 5. And that was under Sir Alex Ferguson. So he knows this brings him success. Whether it might not bring him popularity, it brings him success.
Frank, do you feel Frank Lampard should have been given more time? Would you agree with Craig?
Knowing the club, knowing Mr. Abramovich and the chairman, Bruce Buck, I was pretty sure that it would be the end of Frank very, very, very soon. It's an industry, it's a business, it's no time for empathy, sympathy, and pity, let's say. And I'm sad. I'm sad for Frank because I would have, because he's a legend of the club, I would have him to have more time. But I was sure that he wouldn't get that time. There will be an emergency of change very soon because the club needs to get the results and needs to go higher in the table. So that was for sure that he will leave very soon. And maybe he would have needed more time in another club, both top club like Chelsea. I'm very surprised that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got that time. I'm not surprised that Klopp got that time because he's an experienced coach, and as Craig said, he has all the knowledge and the experience to get the team playing better and getting more results. But it was a question mark for Frank. It was a question mark for Frank, and it's maybe, and we'll see soon if it was the right decision or not.
Dan, it goes back to a comment that Lampard made when Villas-Boas was sacked. It's doing the rounds now. Villas-Boas played his cards. It didn't work out, and maybe this job just came too soon from. I think that sentiment would probably be around Frank Lampard. Let me just touch quickly on yesterday's show. And Frank just mentioned Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there, and this is driving me nuts. It's like saying, well, why's Lampard not been given time, but Solskjaer's been given time, and look what's happened. What am I missing here? What am I missing here in terms of he's been given time? Somebody tell me what has happened. Currently, as we speak, Manchester United are out of the Champions League. They're out of the Carabao Cup, been beaten by Man City. They're now second in the league, which is not a bad position to be in. But I remind the sycophants that are on this show that Brendan Rodgers in 2013, 2014 was already ordering the open-top bus to go around Liverpool. They were 3 games away from winning the title, and they blew it. So why are our pundits on here on a regular basis talking about the saviour that is Solskjaer when we're only halfway through the season, when Liverpool blew it with 3 games to go? I ask you this question. Was that season a success or a failure for Liverpool? The answer is the latter. So to suggest that Solskjaer's been given time and everything's hunky-dory is a nonsense. And please, 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 stop calling all these managers by their first names. It's driving me nuts. The familiarity is doing my head in. Ole and Frank and Pep, let's pull ourselves back a little bit from this friendly punditry and look at it how it should be, judged at the end of the season. And by the way, we're only halfway through. So go tomorrow, get some more sycophant pundits on here that tell me trophies are handed out after 19 games, because they're not.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.